to, yep, got it. I'm into teaching almost from 2 decades. I started teaching career with Office, Excel, but I do conduct trainings on the programming languages like .NET, the databases like Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, the administrations, workshops, and things. And do conduct all the trainings on the complete data analytics, which is happening one of the most emerging technology trends right now. So I conduct all the modules of the data analytics, that is your Excel, SQL Server, the BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, and do conduct trainings on Python, Pandas, and R statistics. Okay, this is something, a small intro about myself. Okay, so I think I'll just get started. This particular training is to get familiar of what exactly is data analytics and how exactly we do data analytics with Excel. See, we do for data analytics, we have a lot of BI tools and all this thing. But, at the end of the day, Excel is one software which is being used by the maximum people, okay, across the globe. So it is in a high demand, and Excel also is growing, okay, coming with a lot of new versions with a lot of new features. Okay, we'll try to see some of the features with the help of which we can do the analytics with the data. Okay, please mute your mics. Fine. Generally, what exactly is data analytics? If I say in general, okay, I just have some data over here. And see, this particular data, generally when you talk about data analytics is nothing but you have some lot of data, and how we can study this particular data, how do we can understand this data, how we can question this particular data so that we can get the insights of the data. So when you get the insights of the data, we can have a better planning, a better decision making, which can help us in improving our business, like exactly where exactly I need to fund more, where exactly I should stop funding. Okay, so I can monitor my fundings, I can monitor my resources and things, and we can have a better process in the business. That is what is the main objective of going into the data analytics. Now we'll just see how exactly we do the data analytics. At the end of this one, I just want to show you I'll just take this particular raw data, and with the help of this raw data, I just want to create a kind of a sample, a dashboard. So when you look into this and this is, so there's two different versions of the same data. When you look into this particular thing, this is our raw data. So in this particular data, what happens is we just have a lot of numbers here, lot of data over here. But first thing is, when you look into this, first we need to know what exactly is this data about. And then if I have to get the insights of this, so what is that I do is, as a business person, I look into the numbers. Okay, we have something to do with the sales. I just want to know what is the total sales. I just want to know what is the total profit we get it. Okay, and then I want to further get this particular, do the insights of this is, okay, we have something called as regions here. Okay, where I want to see how this particular sales have performed in each region wise. What is the sales happened in the South region, West region, Central region, East region. Okay, or we have some different states. I want to see the state-wise sales, or the category-wise sales, or subcategory-wise sales. Okay, fine. You want to try to what is the total sales happen for furnitures? What is the total sales happen for the technologies? So this is something we start questioning this data. See, when you talk about data analytics is nothing but whenever you see the data, you start questioning this particular data. So when you start questioning the data, you try to get more insights of that particular data. When you get more insights of that particular data, so that is where exactly, you'll be able to take a better decisions from that particular data. Okay. So now what I have done is I have just created a sample dashboard based on this particular data, which generally says, I have the regions and each region wise how the sales have been performed. Okay, and we have a segments here. We have the sales which has happened in the different segments like consumer, corporate, and home office. How much percentage of the sales has been done by the consumers? How much percentage of sales is done by the corporate? How much percentage of the sales is done by the home office? We are looking into that particular things. And also, like when you see in this one, okay, we are having, like, category wise how the sales are happening, region wise, okay, or over the period of time, monthly wise, how exactly the sales is been performed. So we are trying to get the inserts of this, and I have shown as a dashboard. So where I'm trying to convert this particular data into the different visuals, and you can see here. So the visuals are being shown, and not only that, there are some cards here, some important numbers. What is the total sales? Okay, this is the individual region wise sales, segment wise sales, but total sales is says for 22,98,000. What is the profit we got it? How much of quantity is being sold? And here, this particular dashboard, I have made it a bit dynamics. Like you can see here, I just want to know how the sales have happened in the each region wise. When I just hit on this particular region, so what is happening here? If I select the central region, so you can see the complete dashboard is changed according to this particular region. So in the central region, what is the sales? Like we can see 5 lakhs is the sales, what has been done. Okay. And when you look into this particular thing, total sales, the total profit, the total quantity that has been performed. Okay. And you can see this is also shown only for a particular region. Okay, how the sales are happening. So if I say central and the south region, so you can see it trying to show the comparison between the south and the central. And I just want to see only for the corporate customers and the corporate and the consumers. Okay, say example, I don't want to see office supplies in this. I can just eliminate those things. Or I just want to see the first 2 quarters. Okay, Q1 and Q2. So the sales only from Jan to June. Okay, so we are trying to see this particular various info, and you can see when I select change any of this particular data over here, and my whole what they say, the dashboard is getting changed accordingly. So this is what exactly happens in the data analytics is we convert this particular raw data, okay, into this particular kind of data with the help of which where we can very easily visualize the data and we can very easily take the decisions. Fine. Okay. This is what is the thing which I will like to talk in next 45 minutes. Okay. Let us go ahead and go ahead with this particular thing. Now, the first thing is the concept which I just wanted to talk about in this particular session is, so I'm talking about the dynamic tables. What exactly is the dynamic tables? Okay. And how dynamic tables are better compared to the data ranges, what we work. See, like what I felt is like, in Excel, many people work with Excel. Okay. But when we see that, we refer to a cell with a cell number A1, B2 and all these things. But what I want is I want to go with this, what to say, the different new way of working. So the new style of working, which really saves a lot of time and all these things, which I just want to give an idea on those particular things. Fine. So what I will do is I would just like to take this particular data into a different sheet and let us work with that. Let me take a blank Excel workbook. Okay. I'll just convert back to the ranges. Okay. So this is my actual data, okay, without any kind of a formatting. And this is just the data in the plain Excel, which we generally see it in our traditional Excel. Okay. Now, what we will do is we'll try to work with this particular tables, and we'll see how exactly tables are going to be beneficial in making your, what I say, your results, your calculations, making it as more dynamic. Okay. And also, like, how exactly we write the formulas with this. Okay, that is what we will try to understand this. See, in general, like, when I refer to this particular thing, so the data is like this, and I have almost 10,000 rows. And when the data is scrolling over further, so I will not know what is this particular info is, because there is no headings displayed. Okay, that is one thing. The second thing is, when the data becomes large, every time I have to do some kind of a calculation on this, I need to keep selecting this particular ranges of data, which becomes really a very tedious work. Okay, so for that, in Excel, we have this particular feature called as dynamic tables, or they call it as Excel tables. We'll just see how do we create an Excel tables and how do we work with the Excel table. See, this particular session, I'm just going, I have a understanding, like, you have some basic knowledge of Excel. So keeping that in mind, okay, I'm just trying to give a kind of a idea of the new features, what is there in Excel. Okay. So if I have to convert this data into a table, so what is that we do is we just get into the insert tab. Okay. In the insert tab, we have this particular option called as the tables. We can see there, and the shortcut key to give create a table is Control+T. You can see as soon as I focus on the table, it shows me a shortcut key. It says Control+T to create and organize and analyze the data. So that means dynamic tables are mainly used to convert this data into Tableau format, where the data can be more clear, more well organized, and more easy for doing the data analysis. Fine. If I have to do that, yeah, I'll just hit on this, or you can use a shortcut key Control+T, and you can see Excel has a beautiful feature here which automatically selects the whole table. You can see this kind of a running ant over there, and which is just selecting the whole table. And you have this dialog box over here which just talks about, okay, where you want this output to be, for which data. So it is from A1 to V 1000, 10,002 rows, okay, till that is the end row. And my table has a header. So that means header means what? From this table, the first row will be considered as a header. Okay. So let me just say, okay, that's it. And we can see the whole data is being converted to a table. One thing, when you see in this particular, when the data is being converted to a table, what happens is this looks more clear. Okay. Every alternate row is showing with a different color. Heading is shown with a different color, and you can see till the bottom. So, okay, all this has been converted. This is one beauty. And on the headings, by default, you can see we have the filters. So we generally says, like, you can filter and get the information only what is needed for you. Okay, so that is what is the objective of this. Clear? Okay. Now what I want to do is in this one. So what is the advantage of going for this? Now, here, what I want is, we have this particular numeric values. Like, take an example, I have the sales data here. We have a quantity, discount, profit. So as a business person, so I always want to know what is the total sales, what is the total profit, what I gain. I want to look at that. So in that case, what is that I do is, see, when I go with the table, and you can see in the top, we have table design here, which this tab comes automatically when you convert your range of data into a table. And here it says total rows. As soon as I hit on this particular total row, you can see in the bottom, a new row is being added here. Okay. And this particular new row, what it is doing here is, so automatically it says the total profit. Okay. And if you want to do the calculations of the other cells, yes, we have the sales data. You want to do the calculations even for the sales data, I can just select this. I just say, I want to, what kind of calculation you want. I just say sum. It is showing me the total sales. So I want to know how much of quantity is being sold. I just select this. You can select the average quantity, sum, count, or whatever it is. Fine. I'll just select the sum. You can see, okay, fine. Totally 37,000 quantity is being sold. And we have a profit of 23 lakhs and sales of 23 lakhs and the profit of 2.8 lakhs. So this is the overall thing. Now what happens is, fine. I just want to filter out some data over here. Okay, so in that case, what happens, or when you add some data, what happens? See, generally the totals are always shown in the bottom, but just take an example, the new data comes in. Okay, I just say tab here, I just go for, and you can see automatically my table is getting expanded and the totals is being pushed further down. Okay, Now what I will do is I'll just try to copy some data. I'll just copy some data here. I'll just paste it. And then again, I have just added another 4-5 rows of data here. Okay. When I add this particular another 4-5 rows of data, you can see the table has automatically expanded and the totals are automatically recalculated according to that new set of values. Everything has done automatically. The table has expanded. Okay, my totals have been always in the bottom and the total is always referring to the new range of data, which is the expanded range of data. Clear? Okay, this is one beauty of this tables. The second thing is, when you keep scrolling the data, see generally what happens, the column headings are A, B, C, D. Fine. When you keep scrolling this particular data, so what happens is the headings will not be visible. No, it just goes off, it gets faded off. Okay, and your data is moving. But you can see when you have this particular table format, so your headings, okay, you can see that the worksheet headings, the column names A, B, C, D, that has changed to order ID, order date, month, and so on. You can see here, wherever you go, okay, I am very clear that, okay, this is my customer ID, this is the ship mode, this is the name of the customer, this is the segment of customer it is. So what is the headings is being given to your worksheet column heading. So still the headings are there. So okay, your information is very clear, like what exactly which data is representing what. Okay, this happens. Okay, this is another benefits of using the table. Now the other thing is, take an example. We have the sales value, we have a quantity, discount, profit. Now I just want to calculate the cost. I want to add a new column. I say cost. So how will I calculate the cost? Cost is nothing but, see this, we had this product which is sold for this price, 261.96. And I say I got a profit of 41. So what will be the cost? So if you have to calculate the cost here, so it is going to be your sales minus the profit. It's something like, I sold a pen for 10 rupees and I say I got a profit of 2 rupees. That means, okay, the cost of the price is 8 rupees and I sold it for 10. That means a profit was 2 rupees. So that means the cost is going to be your sales minus the profit. Is it? So I want to calculate that. I just say is equal to, I just use a simple formula, sales minus the profit. Okay. And you can see the way formula has been written is slightly different from the regular Excel what you see. It says sales minus profit, which we'll be learning later when we do the course. Okay, how exactly this particular names and formula we write it in the tables. Okay, and I just press enter. You can see here 260 minus 41. 261 minus 41 is 220. That is the actual cost. Okay. This was the cost and we sold it for 261 and we got a profit of 41. And now the beauty is we have more than 10,000 rows. And you don't see manually what we do is we, after write the formula, we have to drag the formulas so that it applies in all the places. Here you can see I did not do anything. Automatically it has been filled. Okay. So throughout it has been filled. This is the feature of the dynamic tables. Auto expansion happens both vertically as well as horizontally. Okay, when you just do and add a new columns of the rows or any kind of a calculation, automatically it gets expanded. Fine, clear? Sure. Now this is fine. Now what I want to do is I just want to show only the top 10 best-selling products. I want to show in a different color. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just get into this particular sales and I'll just go to the conditional formatting and I'll just say top bottom rules. I'll just say top 10 items. Okay, and I just want to show with the color. So okay, default is light red fill or green fill with green texture. Now you can see in this, okay, there are some top 10 best sales has been highlighted with green. So since we have a large amount of data, so you can see it is not visible. So when you just scroll, so you should be able to see, because almost 10,000 with 10 is very small values. So I'm not able to scroll and look into those particular things, but I just want to focus only those data. Okay, so in that case, what I'll do is I'll just go to this particular filter here and I'll say filter by color. I want to filter only which is being filtered based on the green color. So you can see only green color cells. These are nothing but your top 10 sales what has been done. So now you want to reward for that or whatever you want to do, fine. So that is the business analyst, the business managers, okay, they will take decisions what has to be done for this, how they want to appreciate or how they want to reward for them. So, okay, so that means, like, even though data is very large, so we can get the information according to your requirement very easily. Fine, I'll just remove this. Okay, sure, this is fine. So now the same way, like, you can filter the data according to a particular city wise, state wise, and all these things. Okay. So I just want to see only the furniture sales. I just select the furniture, say, okay. You can see this is showing only the furnitures. Within the furnitures, okay, all the subcategories. So again, I say in the furnitures, I just want to see only the chairs. Fine. So we just get this particular filter, and you can see your totals, everything shows according to that itself. Means 23 lakhs ka sales, but you can see it is showing only 3.2 lakhs ka sales. 3.2, okay, 3,28,168 is the sales, and the profit we got is 26,000, and this is the quantity is sold, because we have filtered that only furnitures. Within the furnitures also, I just want to see only the chairs. Fine. So we can very easily do this kind of filters and get the information according to our need. Fine. This is some features of your dynamic tables. Now, I just want to do some kind of a calculations. What are the calculations I want to do is, I just want to see what is the sales which has happened on each region wise. Okay. I just have some regions here. So I just have all this is US data here. I just have the various regions here. What is the regions I have? I have is the, okay, west, you have a western region, central region, east region, and the south region. Now I just want to know the kind of sales that is being done in the each region wise. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just try to get another table here. What are the different regions we have? We have a south region, we have a central, and we have a east, and we do also have a west region. Okay, and this is my region, and I want to see the sales for this particular region, the total sales for this region. I can convert this to a table. Now, see, when you convert, Control T will convert the data into a table. Okay, so we just say Control T, it says my table has a header. Fine, first row will become as the header and the table, and you can see by default a name is given for the table. It says table 4. You can give any name. Okay, I just say it's a table for sales for region. It is better you give your own name. Okay, and for this also, how do we get the name of the table? Is just focus on the table, and you get this table design tab here. You can see on the top, I have a table design tab. There, when you focus on that, it just shows me the name of the table. The name of the table given for this is table 2. Fine. So now it is, I'll give a better name for this. Instead of referring table 2, table 3, table 4, we'll not know what table is representing what. So I'll just say this is nothing but your table for sales. Okay, check. Done. Now we have this particular sales table here. In the sales table, I just wanted to see, okay, how the sales have happened for the each region wise. Okay, so what is the formula that we use for this? I want to know what is the total sales happened in the south region, what is the total sales happened in the east region, central region, west region. See, in the case of normal filter, if you want to get it like this, we have to do like this. I just need to select the region. I say central, say okay, fine. So this is the sales of only the central. And when you focus down there, oh, the sales in the central region is 5 lakhs, 11,000, sorry, 1,164, 5 lakhs, 1,164. This is a kind of sales. So I don't want, and this is only for the central. Now I want to see for east and west. I need to keep changing, but I will not know what is central, what is east. I want to get all this particular data so that I should be easily able to know which region has done a better sale. So let us see how do we do this calculations with the help of the dynamic tables. Okay, I just for this, if you want to do the sales based on the region, we have something called as a conditional summing. So a formula is called as sum if. So we have a function here called as a sum if. Now, this particular function SUMIF, it takes three parameters: the range, the criteria, and the summing range. Fine. So now the first thing is the range where you want to apply the criteria. So I want to apply the criteria on the region which is in the table called as TBL sales. So I'll refer like this: TBL sales. That is, when you're working on those dynamic tables, we don't keep moving around different sheets, different ranges of the data. You can just focus on what exactly you need and just keep calling that. So the table sales, I'm referring for the region. This is my range of data where I want to apply the criteria. The second parameter is the criteria. What is the condition you want to give? So the condition, it has to look for this, the south. Okay, the region of the same table. So if I'm referring to the column of the same table, I refer to the column name directly. And if you're referring to the columns of a different table, we refer to the name of the table. Within that name, the region name. Something like, if you have to travel to Hyderabad, okay, so we have to very clearly say, like, if you're traveling from a different country, so you need to specify the country name and then the city name, because the city name might be duplicated or repeated across the different countries. If you have to identify them uniquely, so what we do, okay, India, Hyderabad, India, Punjab, fine. So something like that. So the same way we have followed here. Third parameter is the summing range. I want to do the sum of the sales. I'll just refer to the table sales of the sales field. And I just press enter key, and you can see it gives me the complete sum of sales for all the regions. You can see here the central region 5,01,165 was the sales. The south has done 3.9 lakhs, whereas the east region has done 6.7 lakhs, and the west has done the top sales 7.2 lakhs. I can analyze it here. I can say, oh, the south region, the sales are very low. Okay, we can see the kind of difference. The west has done more than 7 lakhs, but south has done just less than 4 lakhs, 3.9 lakhs. So that means our sales in the south region is very low. Fine. So this is the kind of analysis that we can do it very easily, okay, without moving across and without, see, like, we have almost 10,000 plus data. And if you have to select that particular ranges of data and all this, people who worked in the corporate world, they know how difficult it is. Okay. And if it is toggling between the sheets, it becomes much more tedious work. Okay. Now, the other beauty of this is, see, tomorrow you add some new data to this. You don't have to change the formula. The same formula will holds good for the new data that you add to the table, because it's the additional row, okay, contiguous row that you add will automatically become as a part of the table. Fine. Hope all are getting, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sure. So next is, okay, fine. So we can just do very easily with all these things. Now I'll just show you like a small, this one, like how I did this particular kind of a dashboard. So I've just taken the same data, which I just copied in front of you. Okay. And for this particular same data, I've just converted to a small dashboard. Okay. How exactly we do, because, in the industry, nobody wants to see the data in this particular way, but you as a data analyst, the data will be given in this particular way, and this data has to be converted to a form where it becomes very easy to understand, very easy to analyze it, and dynamically we should be able to get the information according to our needs. Okay, I think so. We'll just look into it. How do we go ahead with doing this? Okay, for that, what I will do is, first thing is, if I have to get the data like this, I need to create a visuals. Okay, if I have to create a visual, I cannot create a visuals on this kind of a data. Okay, but when the data is like this, I can easily create a chart. I can just select this. I'll just get into the insert and I'll just say I want to create a chart for this, and you can see the chart gets created. See, the advantage of doing this particular data, which has been done over here. Okay, so very easily this particular complex data, I just got it the way I wanted it, and I just converted to a visual very easily. And on the visual, I just want to show the values. I just say data labels. Yeah, you can see. Okay, South region has done 3,91,000 ka sale, whereas the central region has done a sales of 5 lakhs. East region has done a sales of 6.7 lakhs, and whereas the west region has done the sales of 7.2 lakhs. Okay. Okay, fine. So now if I have to create so many visuals, so instead of doing this particular calculation, you can do this calculation is not tough. But what I will do is I'll try to create some kind of a pivot table. So very easily I can summarize the data. So I'll just create three sheets here. So this is my sales data. This is my, I just rename the sheet as sales data here. And I'll just say I want to have all my pivot tables here. Okay, and I just want to create a dashboard. I'll just create another sheet here called as dashboard. Then what is that I will do is I want to create a pivot table. So if I have to say in short, pivot table is nothing but the table. As the name says, tables is something where the data is in the form of row by columns. Okay, so this is, I can say it's a matrix data. Okay, this also has in the form of rows and data columns, but you can see it is each field. Row ID is one field, order ID is one field, is this, and each row is representing some one order data. Okay, but I want to summarize the data based on both rows and columns. That is where exactly we go to the pivot table. Now let us create some pivot tables. Say example, I just want to know what is the sales which has happened on monthly wise. January, what is the sales? February, what is the sales? So for that, I'll just go to insert pivot table. Okay. Now see, since you have created the table, I don't have to refer to the ranges. Okay, it is referring to the TBL sales. The complete table has been taken, so we don't have to go for ranges, locking that absolute reference, dollar signs. I know this was very tedious works and all this thing. It has really been simplified. And where you want the output, I don't want in the new sheet, but I want in another existing sheet, because I already have created a sheet called as pivot table. I'll just say I want to push this data into another existing sheet. In the location, I can define the location also in that sheet. I just want in this location. I just say okay. Okay, so that data, so I'm trying to create a pivot table. So it's something like this kind of table like we are trying to create. So now I said here, I just wanted to see the month wise. Okay, and what is the sales? See, I did not do anything. I just selected the month in sales. So something like, month is to do a not for calculation, categorizing the data. Some data which is not for the calculation, it automatically puts into rows. And again, that is the data which is used for groupings. Okay, this is the data. See, when you look into any data, there are two types of data. One is the data which we divided, and other is the set of data which we use for the calculations. Okay, what I mean to say is, when you look into this particular source data, we have so many fields. The fields which is of numeric type, like sales, the quantity, the discount, profit, cost, these are numbers. Okay, these are me used for doing for some calculation. What is the total sales? What is the average sales? How much of quantity is being sold? Okay, but when it comes to segment, oh, what are the different segments are there? Each segment wise, what is the sales you wanted? So this data is mainly used for grouping. Oh, city wise sales. What is the sales in Bangalore? What is the sales in Mumbai? What is the sales in Chennai? I just want to see dividing the data into groups. Okay, that is where exactly we take this. So that means I can say all your numerical data are the data which is used for calculating, and non-numeric data are the data which is used for grouping. And you can see in the pivot table fields in the bottom, we have something like summation values. So those fields used for the calculation, we will be adding it over here. Which fields, the fields which is used for doing a some what I say grouping, that will be added into the rows and columns. Okay, and Excel has this kind of a built-in AI, artificial intelligence. It senses what type of data, and it is automatically doing this job. I just selected the sales, and you can see the sales have gone to the values. So trust me, like, the new versions of Excel, what is coming, it has kind of an inbuilt AI. So you don't have to be very specific. So you just have some ideas, and you can see automatically this gets that job done for us. And you can see we got this particular month-wise sales. Fine. Now I want to create a line chart for this. I'll just create a chart, select this. I'll just go to the pivot table. Here there is something called as a pivot chart. I just hit on this, and you can see I just wanted to have a line chart or area chart should be good. The chart has been created for me. Okay. Now, this is the sales which has happened month on month wise. So how it has been done. But I want to put this data across for the different regions. Okay, yeah, distribution across the different regions. I select the regions, I'll add to the legends. Okay, so we can do this, or I think line chart should be better. This one. Okay, I'll go with the line chart. So you can see the distribution happens across the. So that means what I've done is I've taken a what is say the month-wise sales value. Okay, and I just wanted to create a chart for this. Okay, and I just wanted to have this particular chart which is being done. I'll just select this data. Pivot chart. I say I want a line chart. Say okay, it's done. Now I want to have this data which is divided based on the region. I select the region and I'll just place this region in the legends. You can see each region wise for each month how the sales have happened. I've just created this. Fine. Okay, so that's it. Sure, this is one type of chart. Like this, in the dashboard, what I've done is I've created many charts for the region wise, the category wise, the segment wise. If I have to do those particular things, I just select this particular source data and I just want to have a segment wise sales, okay, or the region wise sales. I just focus on this. Again, get into the insert tab, pivot table. Okay, yes. Now, this time I want to create a new Excel worksheet. That means I want to open an existing worksheet that is in the pivot tables. I'll just keep it somewhere over here and say, okay. Yes. So now for this, I just say I want to have the region-wise sales. The region-wise, what is the sales? Fine. And for this, I want to have a bar chart. I just focus on this, create a bar chart. Pivot table, say okay. And you can just do all those cosmetic works like adding the data labels to that. Okay, removing the legends. Okay, grid lines, if you don't want it, you can just remove it. So we have this particular buttons here on the tables. I can just remove so that you get more plot areas. Okay, so we can just manage something in this particular way. Okay, the same way, this is the region wise sales. I want to see the segment wise sales, like what is the sales happen in the consumer segment, the corporate segment, or home office. Okay, so I'll just create another pivot for this. I'll just say insert pivot table. Okay, and the existing sheet, I need to space the location. I just want it somewhere. Say okay. Yep. And this time I want to go for the segment wise sales. I have the segment wise how the sales have happened. And see, generally, like, we don't like this decimal values. So you can just select and the field settings, we can just go for removing the decimal. Is just right click on that. So we have something called as value field settings. And there I can just go to the number format and we can just remove the decimals and all these things. I just go to the numbers. I say I want to make it a 0-digit decimals with 1000 separator. So now the number becomes more readable. Say okay. Yep. Okay, this is better. So right click, value field settings. I just go to the number format, say number, and I say I want to make it as 0-digit decimal. I want a 1000 separator. Say okay. Okay, the same thing we can just do it on this also. Okay, pivot tables, value field settings. I just go to the number and separator. Yep. Okay, this I think looks more this one. I wanted to create a chart for this. Maybe I want to create a pie chart for this. Select this pie chart. See, and you want to have a 3D chart. Okay, and now in this particular pie chart, I want to show the values. I can just select this. So I don't want to get rid of the legends, let it be. And this particular data labels, And in the pie chart, we don't want to see the labels in the form of sales value. I want to show it in the form of percentage. See, we mainly use a pie chart is when you want to compare the individual sales for the grand total. Okay, so generally in the form of percentage, how much percentage of contribution has done. So I just want to look in that particular point of view. So that is where exactly we go to this particular data labels. I want to customize this. We have this more options, and I can just say change it to percentage, don't show the values. Okay, and you can do this cosmetic works and all this thing, like, you want to show with the decimals as the number system with 2 digits of decimal. So it should be percentage. Yeah, I think this should be fine. Okay, I've just taken this particular 3 charts here, and I'll just show you, like, how we can create a kind of a dashboard for this particular chart. Okay, now let us see, like, how do we convert this particular data into the graph. Okay, that is the dashboards. Okay. If I have to convert this to a dashboard, so what is that we do is I just get into the dashboard here, and in the dashboard, what I will do is I just want to get these visuals in this place. So I can just put one panel there. I can just insert one shape. Might be rounded thing. Yeah. And I just want to place all these particular charts in this particular shape. Fine. I'll just copy this charts, this chart, and all these particular charts. I say Control C or Control X or whatever it is, and I can just place it on this. Control V, or I'll just take the individual. I'll just right click, copy this particular chart, and I'll just go to this particular dashboard, and I'll just say paste this. You can see this particular chart is being pasted on this. Okay, so you want to remove this thing, hide all the values. Okay, this is what you say segment wise sales. Now the same thing, I just want to go for this. Okay, you can have this particular headings here. This is the region wise sales. Okay. I just say cut this from here. I can just place it on this. Cool. Yep. I just say segment wise sales, the region wise sales, and I also want to show this particular the line chart. Sure. Okay, I've just placed something like this. Okay, a kind of a sample, this one. So now what I want to do is I want this particular what is it dashboard to be interactive. Interactive is like if I select a particular say a category, it has to filter out only for that category. Or if I select a particular segment, it has to show only for that segment. If I select a particular region, it has to show me the sales of only that region. So for that, what will I do is, so here in the pivot tables, we have something called as a slicer. Okay, I'll just select the slicer. See, what you talk about slicer is like, filters. Okay. But it is going to be a dynamic and again, interactive filters on the fly, on the visuals. You can have a direct, the filters where you can come to know what is being filtered out and what is not being filtered out. Okay. So let us see, like, how do we do that? So I'll just go to this particular, I want to have filters based on the segment, based on the regions, because this data is there. And I say, I want to filter based on the months. I just selected this slices. You can see, I'm just showing this particular different slicers here. Okay. So we have a segment, we do have even the regions. Okay. We can customize this particular slices, making it to 2 columns. Okay. Again, putting into a different, the panel. And so I have modified the slicer to 3 columns so that I can save the space and I can have a better looking. Okay, so maybe short of time, so we have a lot more things to cover. Yeah, so I just want to make it into 2 columns or might be even 4 columns. Yeah. So based on your space requirement, how you want to fit, you can just modify this particular settings and you can do this. Fine, I've just used the slicer. Now what I want is, if I select a particular region, say example, East region, see this is changing, but this is not changing. I want all those things has to be interrelated to each other. So what I do is I just right click on the slicer and say, I want to have a connection between all these particular pivot tables. I just select the pivot tables here. Okay, I just right click, report connection, select the rest of the pivot tables. So right click on this, report the connection, select the pivot tables. Fine. Now you can see here, if I select the corporate, it shows me only the sales of the corporate segment. I say corporate and the consumer segment. So you can see, okay, when you look into this too, in the segment wise, 62% of the sales is done by the, the consumers, 37% of the sales is done by the corporate segment. When you see the region wise, excluding the home office, so this is the sales. Okay, this is the sales which is happening for the month wise. So I want to see only the first 6 months, say January to June. I can just select that. Okay, it just shows me the sales for January to June. And you can see not only this, everything has been changing accordingly. If I say July, August, you can see this numbers, everything is changing accordingly. Fine. So this is how we actually do it. So I've just spent a little bit more time. Okay, it hardly takes much time here to create this kind of interactive dashboards with this kind of a cards and all. I have used it where you can see it is the values are changing accordingly. Okay, and things. Fine. I hope you got an idea how exactly we create this particular data into the visuals, which becomes very easy to understand. Hope it is useful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Such a very productive.
Yes. Okay. This is one thing. Apart from this particular thing, so I just want to say is, next is, this is about data visualizations. How do we convert on the dashboard? The other new thing, what we see in your Excel is Excel has come out with something called as a Power Query. Now, what exactly is the Power Query? See, in Excel, you have a lot of functions. Okay, text functions, the numeric function, the date functions, and all these things. And you have to use this function to convert your raw data into a data which can be used for easy to analyze it. Okay, now when you're using this particular function, so we need to use this particular function very carefully. Most of the times we have to do a lot of nesting of functions and all this thing. This can be just done very easily, okay, on few button clicks with the help of the Power Query. Okay, this is really an awesome feature, okay, which I can tell you something like, 1 day's job, 8 hours job, you can just do it in 15 to 20 minutes max. Okay, this is what is my students who have used this and they have given this particular feedbacks about that. Once they have studied and they started using those particular Power Queries and dynamic tables and all this thing, they say like, what the kind of job I used to spend more than 8 hours, 10, 12 hours, we could do it in 15, 20 minutes max. Okay, that is what is the advantage of this. And trust me, like, very few people know about this particular Power Queries, the dynamic tables and all these things. So it really saves a lot of your time. So like, whatever the dashboards we did, we can do it without the dynamic tables also. But with the dynamic tables, you get more advantages, like irrespective of the source data getting updated. Okay, so you don't have to keep changing the source data. This is very dynamic, interactive. Okay, so those things you get it. Okay. So the next thing is, I would like to talk about the Power Query. Okay. I think now what is Power Query? Actually, in the data analytics, no, we have this terminologies called as ETL. ETL stands for extract, transform, load. Extract is, see, in the data analytics, the data is present in different sources. It might be in the CSV file. It might be in the form of Excel. It might be in the form of a databases, Oracle, SQL. It can be a cloud data, SharePoint. It can be Google Analytics data, or anything. Now, we have to extract the data irrespective of the data sources and then do the transformation. Transformation is doing the cleaning operation, converting the data into a more easy to understandable things, easy to visualize the data. Okay, once we convert that transformation, then we do the loading. Loading is presenting the data. For presenting the data, we need to convert this particular data into the proper visuals, okay, graphs. So that is what is the main purpose of this particular ETL. So let us see how do we do this with the help of the Excel's Power Query feature. Okay, so how do we get into the Power Query is, in the Excel, you can see we have this tab called as the data tab. In the data tab, you can see here we have something called as get data. All this particular section, the queries and connection, get and transform data. This particular section is dealing with the Power Query options. So I'll try to read the data here. So first I'll try to read the data from some TXT text or CSV file. Okay. Before that, I would like to show this particular actual data that I'm trying to read. This is my CSV file. I just want to read the CSV file. So generally, like, when you try to read the CSV file, this is how the CSV file looks. There's a comma separated value. So people use this because it saves a lot of space, it consumes less, this one. Okay. Now I'll try to read this particular data into my this one. Okay. I'll just select this. I'll just say import. So what is happening? I'm just trying to import that CSV file into my Excel so that I can take this data and get the benefits of using Excel and convert into this particular, what we saw, the dashboards, the visuals and things. Okay. I'm just trying to extract this data. So this is the data, what I am reading from that CSV. Okay. This is the data. So this, all this, the same sales data, what I showed. But here I have a small thing here. What is that is, when you look into this particular address field here, address field has a combination of the United States, that is the country name. South, west, there is nothing but the region. Okay, we do also have a city name, a state name, California, Florida, okay, and things. Then we do also have a city name, and then we also have a pin code. Everything is merged into one address column, and again, address column is stored as a subjective data. Now, if I have to do the analysis, each state-wise, region-wise, what is the sales done in the south region, west region, within the region, state-wise, I want to look into those particular data. When the data is in this particular kind of a subjective or like, a single data, will not be able to do the analysis. I need to split this. So what is that I need to do? I need to take the state, country separately, region separately, the state, then within the state, the city and the pin code. I want to extract this separately. So for that, before I load the data, here you can see here we have load and the transform. Load is directly loading this data into my Excel. I say, hold on, I want to load this data into Excel, but before I load the data, I want to do some transformation. I want to do some cleaning operation. This address, I want to do the splitting. I'll just do one thing. I'll not click on the load, but I'll click on the transform. As soon as I hit on the transform, what happens is my Microsoft Excel opens a new editor called as Power Query Editor. We can see here, it says Power Query Editor. In the Power Query Editor, so we have all this particular operation of doing the data transformation, or we call it the data cleaning. Okay, see, one thing is in your data analytics jobs, 80 to 90% of your job is going to be your data cleaning operations. Visualizations, we have a tools, just few clicks it happens. Okay, but doing this particular cleaning operation, the transformation operation is the maximum job what people do it in the data analytics. Okay, please mute the mics. Okay, now what I wanted to do is this address section, what is there? I just want to split this particular thing, okay, into the state country. So how do we split this? See, when the data is being stored, they have followed certain kind of a nomenclature here. Between the country name and the state name, you can see there is a hyphen. And between the state name and, sorry, region name and the state name, again, there is a hyphen. Between the state and the city, there is a hyphen. Between the state and the pin code, there is a hyphen. Wherever there is a hyphen, I want to split this. Okay, see, I can do it with the help of Excel also. Okay, this pattern. But if I'm doing in Excel, I have to use some functions, text functions, left, right, mid, len function, and various functions. We need to use a find function to find this hyphen, and we have to do a lot of nesting operations for doing that. Is it? Okay, people who have worked with Excel, they'll know, like, you know, how much of complexities we do for this. But I'll show you how we can do this in the Power Query editor. I just select this particular field, and here I have something called as a split. And based on what you want to split, I say I want to split based on the delimiter. There is some kind of a standard delimiters. I want to split based on the delimiter. And what is the delimiter we found here is a hyphen. Okay, say you can just go to the custom and say I want to have a hyphen as a delimiter. Okay. That's it. And I'll just say, okay, each occurrence of the delimiter. So whenever there is a hyphen, I want to have it. So I say each occurrence of the delimiters, I want to split. I just say, okay. As soon as I say, okay, you can see here, United States, regions, okay, what I say, the state name, city name, and pin codes have come as separate columns, and the headings given to that is address.1. That is, address has split into 5 columns here: address point 1, address.2, address.3, 4, 5. Now I can rename this. I can just right click. I say rename this to, where is rename? I just say this is nothing but your country. This is the state. Region. Please mute. I think host can do that. A region state. And I just select this and say this is the city name. And I say this is the pin code. I just right click, rename this. I'm just renaming this columns. Okay, and you can see there are many operations here. What we can do, we have some kind of a duplicate rows. We need to remove that. I want to remove some error rows, blank rows. You want to remove. Okay, many people in the corporate world, when I go handle the classes, they ask, like, you know, how do we write a queries to remove? And they ask to write VBA macros to remove the empty columns and all those things. And this, on few clicks, 2 clicks, we can do all those operations. And there are a lot of functions here when you look into it. We have functions related to text, numbers, and the dates. So trust me, like, you know, more than 100 plus, okay, functions what you use in Excel can do very easily in the Power Query without writing the actual functions. Just on the few clicks, we can just do the operations. This is what it is. So once you have done these changes, once you have done this, so what we do is just click on the home tab of the Power Query editor. I say close and load. So this is going to close the Power Query editor and load the data into my Excel. Okay. Once we get the data into the Excel, what we did the dashboard, yeah, I can do it. By default, it is in the form of a table. And the name of the table is given like this. We can give a better name. Okay. So this is my sales table or something. Okay, and you can just further go ahead and do all the operations what we actually did in the previous this one. Okay. Okay. Clear with this? Okay. So Power Query is a very, very useful, very powerful tool. Okay. which can do a lot of data transformation operations. What we do it in your what to say Excel, on few clicks may we just do it. So that is what is the benefits you get it when you go to this particular Power Query. So next is like, I'll just show you one more thing is about data modeling. Data modeling is what, see, in the real time, again, what happens, the data will not be in a single sheet like this. It will be spread across multiple tables. Okay, they follow some kind of RDBMS norms where they identify the groups of data, they store it separately and things. Now, when the data is being stored separately, still we should be able to extract that and then create the visuals based on that particular thing. So I'll just show you about that data modeling. How do we do it? Okay, so for that, I'll just try to take some data. Just give me a second. Retail store. I just have some Northwind data over here. So in the Northwind, I just have some data about the products and categories and all these things. Now, we'll just see like, how do we create the visuals based on this particular data. Okay, so where the data is not stored in a single table. Okay, now I'll just show you a simple thing here. This again, all I'm just taking some real-time data here. Okay, I just have a product data, product ID, name, quantity, unit price. Okay, I say category name and description. Let us not keep it because there will be a lot of redundancy which will be created. Okay, so I just have this data, unit price. Okay, now I'll just take this example. I have this orders table here, and you can see each customer has placed the order, or like you can see here, each employee has taken the order. Employee ID 5, he has taken some orders. Employee ID 6 has taken some orders. Okay, employee ID 4 has taken some orders. Okay, now I have not maintained this particular employee ID. The reason why I have not maintained is, see, employee ID 1, he has taken many orders. If I maintain the employee details for this, so you can see employee ID 1, he has taken almost 100 plus orders. Yeah. Yeah, so 124 orders this employee 1 has taken. So that means if I maintain that information also in this, every employee has a last name, first name, title, what is he, birth date, all these personal details and all these things. Fine. Now what I want to do is, I just want to know each employee. I don't want to see employee 1 how many orders he has taken, employee 2 how many orders he has taken, but instead of that, I want to know Nancy how many orders he has taken, Andrew how many orders he has taken, okay, Janet how many orders, Margaret, Stephen, each employee wise I want to know how many orders he has taken. So in that case, what I do, okay, 5 is nothing but Stephen, 3 is Janet, 1 is Nancy, so I need to consider that. Becomes a little tedious work. Okay, so for that, here we have something called as power pivot. Okay, so what is power pivot? If I say power pivot is nothing but is a pivot table, but pivot table which is created based on multiple source of data. Okay, if I have to create a pivot table, what is that I need to do is, I need to push this data into a data modeling, so where I can create a relationship. I'll just select this, and here I have something called as add to model. When I hit on this, you can see this particular data will be added to the model where I can do the relationship between the tables. I can do the data modeling. Something like, people who have worked on SQL Server. So we have something called as RDBMS. Okay, so where the data is being segregated and stored in a separate table to avoid the data redundancy, to maintain the inconsistencies. Okay, but the reports, they say, no, I want to merge the data and I want to see it as a single output. So that is where exactly we get into this particular data modeling.
जुल्फिकार हैदर, आपका कैमरा ऑन है, थोड़ा बंद कर देंगे प्लीज.
Okay, fine. I can just remove all this. Now I want to add this data to the model. So I'll just hit on this. Okay, and you can see this data brings into the model, and I can rename this particular table here. I just say this is my orders table. Okay, so this is my orders table, and I want the employees table. So I'll just take this employees table also. I just want to shift this also into my model. I'll just select this. I'll just hit on the data model. You can see this is my employee data. So let me rename this as employees table. So I have orders in employees table. Now, as I said, I want to see the employee wise how many orders they have taken, but not based on the employee ID. Okay, but we have employee ID over here, but I want to get it based on the name of the employees. If I have to do this, what is that I need to do? I need to join. So one is Nancy, two is Andrew. I need to say this. So when I say one, so it is nothing but is the Nancy. If I say two, it is Andrew. I need to create a relationship between this. For that, I'll just get into this particular design tab here. And here we have this option called as create relationship. Okay, and we can see the tables are being automatically filtered here. So employees table, and other table I want to look for is the orders table. And what is the common column between both the table? Employee ID and the employee ID. So where is the employee ID? Fine. So I've just selected the employee ID from the employees table, linking to the employee ID of the orders table, and I'll just say okay. Now the relationship is being created. And then what I will do is I just get into this particular, now I want to create a pivot table for this. I just get into the home tab, and you can see here, from here, I have something called the pivot table. Now I have just clicked on the pivot table. Where do you want it? I'll say I want in the new sheet. Say okay. Now you can see you got it as a pivot table, and here, so you can see we get this particular table, employees and orders. Okay. Now what happens is same like a pivot table. We have filters, column, rows, and values and everything, but based on multiple sources. Now I say from the employees table, I just want to take the first name as my row headings. So you can see instead of showing as 1, 2, 3, it is showing the actual employee's first name. Then I want to know how many orders they have. Okay, so if I have to get the orders, what I will do is I need to have a count of orders, isn't it? I can just select one of the field something, and I'll just make it as count. So that means Andrew has taken 96 orders. Okay, and you can see 10 Nancy has taken 123 orders. Okay, so totally 830 orders are there when you look into the orders table here. So we have totally 830 orders. One row is heading, so it says 831. So, and that distribution, when you look into it, so it has been shown something like this. Clear? Hello?
Yes,
sir.
Okay. I think this will do for today's this one, where I've just covered three things here. One is understanding what is dynamic tables. So generally when I talk about this particular dynamic tables, it is converting your data into a more organized, well-structured way, and where the design itself clearly says every alternate row with a different color, headings, with the filters. If you don't want those filters there, so we have the option of removing that filter. That is, go to the table design, and I say I don't like that filter. Somebody, some things like sometimes people don't like additional things. Remove the filter buttons. Okay, but table structure will be as it is. You don't have to convert this back to the range or anything. Okay, so this is one thing. The second thing is, okay, how do we do the calculations? Some basic calculations with this. We no more use that range reference A1, A2, B3 or something, but we refer to this particular kind of a naming conventions. Okay, that is refer to the name of the table and then the column names. Okay, the advantage of this one is if you're doing a calculation across multiple sheets, you don't have to toggle between the sheets. Okay, and you don't have to toggle between the sheets, and you don't have to keep dragging and selecting the ranges and all this thing. this will be very useful, okay, in a long run. Might be slightly a new changes, okay, accepting the changes might take a little time, but trust me, okay, this is what the feedback what my students have given. So 1 day's job or more than that job, so they could easily do it in a very short 10-15 minutes. Might be, I'm not joking, that is the kind of feedback what my students have told. Okay, so that was a very motivational things for me to teach you this particular things. Yeah. The next thing is we have understood about how do we create a simple dashboards. So we just created a dashboard with the help of pivot tables, and we created a connections between the multiple tables for using a single slices. And one thing is, like, when you have a tables, you have this particular slices. See, normal data, you don't have a slices, but on the tables, you have a slices. You can just get the slices, and on the fly, you have this particular option of filtering and unfiltering it. Okay, so this is the kind of a benefit you get it with the help of the tables. When you go with the tables, a lot of benefits are there. Maybe I'll just share my YouTube videos where I have explained more into details of this. Okay, category and say subcategories, you can see interrelated. So if I just select the technologies, you can see the data has been filtered out only for the technologies, and you can see this particular slicer, it shows me only those particular products belonging to category is being shown with a different color. The rest of is been graded out. That means this is unfiltered thing. And within this, okay, fine, I want to deselect some option. I just hit on this particular deselecting, and I say, I don't want to see appliances. Okay, I don't want to see phones. Excluding that, the filter has been done. So on the fly, you can have a filters, and you can have a very clear idea as what you have filtered and what you're not filtered. When you go to the drop down, no, you want to know what exactly is the filter and you have unfiltered you have done. You have to go to the drop down sub option, the another dialog box, and there we need to get in. But on the fly, you have a very clear idea as what filters you have done and what you have not done. Okay, this is the kind of benefits you get it in the slices, and the slices you get it when you have a dynamic tables. The normal tables, when you convert this into range, you will not be able to do the slices. Fine. So this is what. And the second thing is, the next thing is we learned about your Power Query. That what is Power Query is very powerful tool here. So I can say you want to work with the numeric data or date functions, or you want to work with the text function. See, all those things we could do it in Excel. It's not like you cannot do it, but with the help of this, okay, you don't have to sit and write the complex formulas and all those things. Okay, so take your data to the Power Query editor, do the transformation, get it back, and then go ahead doing the analysis. Okay, the transformation, which is the maximum amount of time what the data analyst spends, okay, can be done very easily with the help of the Power Query. Okay, and the next thing is data modeling. So data modeling is what? When the data is not in a single sheet, it is in the across multiple, we go to the data modeling. So we create a relationship, and then we go ahead and further do the data analysis on this. Yeah. Yes, Saif, I have Brother Saif. Hello. Yeah. Hello, Brother Saif. I'm done with my this one. So might be I was in a little rushing because of the time constraints and thing. Maybe I think. I hope it was informative.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, alhamdulillah, that was very informative, and we got to learn something new. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Jazakallah. Well, so we can have some questions from the audience, if there are any.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Would you suggest me some book, particular book for the advanced Excel? Because we have done so many things with Informatica and all.
Okay.
But we can do on Excel also. Could you suggest some particular book?
Fine. My thing is, I used to refer to the Bill Jellen's book and all those things, but I'll tell you, like, since I'm into teaching and I handle a lot of queries and questions, and I do a lot of data explorations. Okay, that is where I could upgrade myself to so many new features in Excel. So even though I'm into more of programming and things. You refer to any book, authors, they have sort of spent a lot of quality time in writing the books. Only thing is when you take that particular books, whatever you go through, this is more of a practical subject. So I suggest, like, you have to practically work out with whatever the concept you study. Okay, so look for some books which gives you some kind of a practical examples, and then in there, reading concept getting is very easy, but unless and until you put it across practically, it becomes difficult for us to retain what we have studied. Okay, I was referring for Bill Jellen's book.
Vigilance. Yeah, right.
Nowadays, like, I just keep on exploring any questions. I get any questions in my corporates and all those things I take up. I try to explore that and try to expand my Excel skills.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
So any more session will be there on Excel?
The Saif Bhai will be updating about that.
I see. Thank you.
Uh,
Jazakumullah.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. How do we get in touch with you, Mr. Sadiq? If in case you want to contact you or have any queries to ask,
Inshallah.
like how do we contact you? Like you have any group to add us, or like
Brother
actually
Saif,
this was my friend who sent me this link to add to join.
yep.
So yeah.
I'll just give you a second. I think I'll just call up to Saif and check it out. I think.
Sadiq, you can share your contact details in the chat.
Yeah, sir. In the chat, I'll just share. Fine. So you can just take note of it. I say 97421315332. Same WhatsApp number, and I have some videos on this channel. So Upskill with Sadiq.
Pardon, sir.
Yep.
Channel name?
Upskill with Sadiq.
97.
Sadiq bhai, as you said, this Excel is a powerful tool now because we can do anything. ETL and BI.
EDA, ETL, yeah, conditional formatting again is very awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we used to work on Informatica. So we used to do ETL and all. So it is possible over Excel also, right?
Yes, it is possible. See, I myself teach Power BI and Tableau also. When we talk about a Tableau and a Power BI, so we have really a great visualization tools and transformation tools and all those things. But see, I've seen in the industry, maximum people work with Excel might be because of the costing factor. Because when you go to the Power BI enterprise, this one, so per user, per license is going to be really big. This one, I think, for the burden for the organization. So
correct.
Yeah, so a kind of, not very kind of a large data, the kind of data what is happening nowadays in this industry 4.0 data driven industry. So that is where is only the limitation of Excel, when the data becomes too very out of
very high. That is difficult.
But otherwise, Excel is something which gives you a place where I can store the data, I can do the transformation, I can do even visualization. You can even share this data to SharePoint. Various options can be done with Excel.
Yes. Excellent, sir. MashaAllah.
Thank you, Nabi. Any other questions from anybody?
Sadiq sir, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Myself Samad Kavi Khan and from Lucknow SPI school.
Okay.
In this complete session, I have focused that all the things you have changed that totally depend on a data.
The topic session was something related to the data.
All things depend on a data. If we have a raw data with improper arrangement,
yes,
then there is any basic principle that we have to arrange this data in a proper format.
See, the principles I said, when you are trying to convert this data into the visuals, okay, the data are categorized in two things. One is the data which is used for measures, the calculations, and another is the data which is used for grouping. Okay, we need to identify the data. Okay, based on the data, you take a decision kind of how you want to do the grouping and on which fields you want to do a calculations. And further going, like when you have to convert to the visuals, okay, if you have a geographical data, we'll convert this data to the map chart. If you have data something with respect to the order dates, okay, date fields and all these things, we convert this data into a line chart. When you want to show this particular information for the grand total, so we use a pie chart. See, every chart has its own purpose. There are many charts. Okay, when I go to the Tableau, they say 50 plus charts, but when you go to the Power BI, they say we have 250 plus different types of charts. They say, like, if you have more categorical information, go to the tree map, okay, or bubble charts and things. There are different types of charts and all those things. So that we need to know, like, what kind of data, how much of grouping levels are there, or like hierarchies, like, we have a category, subcategory, within the subcategory, a product is there. We need to understand that and how we can do a kind of a drill down reports, charts, and all those things. Yeah, that we need to understand with the data.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
So do we have any other questions from the participants?
Feel free to ask questions. I'll be happy.
Sadiq sir, Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
This is Dr. Shanawaz here from Reva University. Hope you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So my question is regarding if the file contains the null values.
Null values, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and which is very, very important during the EDA.
Yes.
So how to fill those null values?
Okay, we use some algorithms here, and if I have to do this, this we again do it in the Power Query editor. So as I said, there we have more than 100 plus different functions are there. So with the help of which we do this, we work with. So I just showed you one simple, like, how do we split based on the hyphen. So there we have something like, fill down, fill up options and thing. And when you're filling, again, we can provide the algorithms. Like, if one null value is there, so you want to take the average of that, or you want to take the previous value and you want to fill down. Okay, something like, a kind of a guessing work, we use it for filling the data, so that we can get the results, but not deviating from the actuals. See, null is something which is not there, and we are trying to fill the value. So we cannot get the exact data, but my data should be more relevant or more accurate. So we use different algorithms for that, linear algorithms and so on. Interpolations and all these things are there. So that we generally do it in the Power Query.
Okay, so basically like calculations of median and mean values. And
yes, exactly.
Okay.
So the interpolations will do that.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Sorry, Sadiq bhai, can you tell me the name of the book? It is difficult to find out in the on Amazon. Can you spell
to
out?
be frank, like, I'm not writing books now. It has come to everything as a digital media. So we have any questions, MSDN is the best thing. Okay, and Excel also, you can see we have tell me what it is. You just ask for anything, like, you want to know about tables.
Right. Okay.
You just go for it. We have more search and all these things. Nowadays, we are not dependent on the physical books.
Right.
As we are just going for more of a digital. And MSDN is the best thing I can say, because this is directly from MSDN, Microsoft. And you always get the updated things.
You must be having the soft copy of this, right?
Which one?
Could you mind soft copy of this, all the stuff, all the details? Do you mind sharing?
So whatever the examples I cover, I generally share those particular contents and the notes for that. Yeah.
That will be helpful, right?
Yeah, inshallah.
Jazakumullah.
So Sadiq, next, you do have any session planned for anyhow next week or somehow?
Yeah, I just need to check with Brother Sahib.
We'll
plan it out.
whenever we plan, we'll inshallah circulate in the groups.
Yeah,
So as you came to know about today's session, inshallah you'll get a notification about next sessions also.
Yeah.
So you have to plan as per Sadiq Bhai's availability.
Okay. Thank you.
So if Sadiq Bhai is sharing any PDF for soft copy, whoever wants, please leave your email IDs in the chat box. So don't leave any phone number. I'll be emailing to only those email IDs that I get in the chat box. If Sadiq Bhai has any PDF or any soft copy to share, so just leave your email ID in the chat box. Nothing else. There will be no WhatsApp, only email I'll be sending out if there is anything. Okay, Sadiq Bhai, I think that's all from the participants' questions also.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Thanks
all
a lot
for
to everyone. And special thanks to Sadiq Bhai and Jazakumullah khair. And inshallah, we'll plan something next soon.
Inshallah.
Okay, assalamu
alaikum.
So, please let the emails coming whoever are interested in the soft copy.